GearNetwork.com.
The following is a presentation of the Gear Radio Network.
Hello, good morning. This is the former governor of California, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and you are listening to Chazz and Jay on the Fantasy Football Bros podcast. These guys, they're so funny, and they're going to help you win some money. Hey, that rhymed.
Here we go. Hey, everything on three. Number three. Wait on one. Oh, wait on three. 1, 2, 3. Hey, little mixed up in there. Eyes on three. Everything on 3 and 1. Everything.
You are now listening to the Fantasy Football Bros podcast.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Fantasy Football Bros podcast. It's your boy.
All I do is win, no matter what.
Chazz, and as you can see, Dave was. Oh, there he is, ladies and gentlemen. Back. He is back. He is back just in time for his intro. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the fantasy football surgeon himself.
Feel like a surgeon.
Zags, we went on without you, bro.
You started the show without me?
Yeah, well, I'm like, let's go, and then I hit the button, and then you're like, just out of here. You're out of here like a center fielder for the Padres. Was he
Okay, I apologize. I was making a cup of coffee, and then I forgot I was doing that, and my teapot was just like boiling over.
Teapot? Why don't you use an electric tea kettle like a human?
What?
Yeah, bro. Electric tea kettle, man. Jesus.
I'm retro, dude. I'm retro.
He's like, oh, technology, fuck that.
Get off my lawn with your
I use a Chemex. You know what a Chemex is?
I don't think I do.
It's just a glass bulb. It looks like a science experiment.
I do know what you're talking about.
It's a totally manual process. I grind the beans. You got to come over and have a cup of coffee, bro. I'll change your life.
Let's go. I like a coffee. Well, let's finish our intro because we have the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Jay Coleman. Jay, what's up, dog?
What's going on, boys?
And over there on the other side, we got the no nickname, no nonsense.
It doesn't matter what your name is.
What's up, fellas? Yes, sir.
The champ is here, guys. What's up, man?
Your fantasy football champion. Yes, I'm here. What's going on, boys?
You've earned it. You've earned it. And over there in the corner, eyeballing me over there, we got
Pickles, all my pickles.
She might make an appearance or so. So, all right. Well, we are here to do two things. We're going to review the AFC draft picks. We're not getting into linemen and all that bullshit. We're going to talk about fantasy football, relevant players and stuff, and then we're going to also do a quarterback or a draft of our favorite quarterbacks of all time. So that should be fun, huh?
Yes, sir.
I'm here for
Do it.
Let's get it.
We gonna do it. So we're gonna go over. We're going on. We're doing pro football or PFF. They did it. Should I share the screen or should we just leave it us? What do you think?
Oh, we could probably just leave it us. But let's preface the show by saying that if you have never listened, you are listening to a absolute draft superstar and three dudes that are not super pumped about drafting rookies. So just keep that in mind throughout the show.
It is fun. Draft is fun.
That is true.
I find this draft that should be a little weird because there's some like some players you got to dig really deep on, and I'm not a draft like guru. I don't really dig deep past like the third round, so it's kind of tough. But we're going off of the PFF Pro Football Focus's grades, and we'll see what they say. I will list whom they drafted. But we'll only talk about the we'll only talk about the fantasy relevant
ones.
Yeah, the important ones.
So we're going to start with the reigning defending AFC North champions of the Baltimore Ravens. Pro Football Focus gave them an A- for this draft. They drafted a cornerback, a tackle, an edge rusher. That sounds like the Ravens, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Sure does.
So, and then they drafted a receiver, a cornerback, a running back, a quarterback, a corner or center, and a safety. So let's talk about fourth round. I don't know much to say because it's a little late. Wide receiver Devontae Walker out of North Carolina. I don't know much about him. Fourth round wide receiver, but they have, some room opening up with the departure of Odell Beckham. But I don't see any faith in a fourth round receiver with the Ravens. Anybody?
I got nothing.
Really. I got nothing to say.
Maybe a super deep best ball league because there's a chance that he goes, he'll go deep one game. I don't know, maybe.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, out of their 9 picks, they only drafted 3 skill position players. So that's very Ravens. Fifth round, they drafted running back Rasheen Ali from Marshall. He's someone just to keep an eye on in general because Derrick Henry's not necessarily young and kind of got beat up here and there. So, and they lost their other 2 running backs. They might still have Justice Hill, but he's more of a pass catcher, right? So, I don't know. Rasheen Ali out of Marshall for the Ravens. Keep an eye on, but definitely don't draft.
Still got Keaton Mitchell too. So,
but he's not going to come back towards the end of the season, probably, right?
Yeah, but I don't know.
Maybe, but for a fifth round running back to do anything this year, it's highly unlikely. Yeah.
Just keep an eye out because we know the history of the injuries with those Ravens running backs, right?
That's a fact.
Every year, every fucking year.
So, and then they in the 6th round they took a Kentucky quarterback, Devin, or should I call him Dennis Leary, and yeah, nobody cares.
Irrelevant while Lamar's there, man. It's just don't even bother.
So we're going to move on to who, and that was an A- draft pick, but again, it was very Raven. So now Pro Football Focus with the next team is the Buffalo Bills. They gave a B- to, and I'm okay with that, considering we didn't have a first-round pick either. I'm okay with the B-, but we'll skip the first pick because that's who we're going to talk about the most. What do you guys think about 4th-round pick? I'll start with Jay. What do you think about Ray Davis out of Kentucky, running back?
I think he's going to be a good complement to Cook, so I really like it.
Okay, and what about you, Adam?
Couldn't care less about the guy.
Okay, interesting.
It's a rookie running back, so he's
exactly. It's a rookie running. I mean, look at how long it took the Bills to even play Cook.
You're right,
and I mean, it's just the Buffalo Bills. They don't run the ball a lot. They have Josh Allen, and it's just Cook had a great season last year. Don't get me wrong, but
Ray Davis is probably going to fumble the first game of the year, and then we won't see him until fucking week 13.
I just want to point out too with Ray Davis, he's one of the only players, maybe possibly the only college football player ever, because of the new transfer portal. He was a 1,000-yard rusher on 3 separate teams in college football, so he can get it done.
I'm not saying he's not good. I'm just saying it's the Buffalo Bills, and they don't.
Yeah, because I was almost going to clap back.
They don't take well to those rookies, if you know what I mean.
Well, I was almost going to clap back when you're like, he's a rookie running back, because we had 2 rookie running backs finish in the top 12 last year, and that's been a while. What do you got to say about him, Dave?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Jay. He's a nice compliment. I think fantasy relevancy, I got nothing there for you. I honestly think, I don't know, man, Cook really, for lack of better words, really cooked last year. And I wouldn't be surprised if this is like the first year in a long time that the Bills kind of like turn towards like a true workhorse running back, which, like we said, they got Josh Allen. I mean, it's a workhorse running back in Buffalo isn't going to be a ton, but I'd be surprised if anybody else besides Cook gets on the field very often.
I wouldn't be, and I do want to because you said that there, and Adam said that they don't run the ball much. They ran the ball an awful lot more once Ken Dorsey was gone. So I think I said this on the last episode. I will not be surprised if the Buffalo Bills are the top 3 in rushing offense, and they're going to pound the ball a lot. And I think Davis is someone to keep your eyes on in the late rounds because, yeah, he's a rookie. He won't see the field. That's fine. But once he gets motoring and once he gets moving, to take some of that pressure, some of that goal line pressure off of Josh Allen, because this guy's big. He's actually a thick running back. The Bills don't like those. They've drafted all skinny, small guys up until now. So the fact that they drafted this big running back, couple of offensive linemen, 3 offensive linemen, 4 offensive linemen, 3 offensive linemen, makes me just feel like they're going to run the ball more than we think. Again, that's not a Ray Davis is a starting running back, but like somebody to throw on your team in the 16-17 round, a la what, like Kyron Williams last year, right? Like, might be someone to just think that because of the offensive change with Joe Brady. But we all got to talk about second round pick first. First pick in the second round, Keon Coleman. Jay, let's hear about your cousin.
I think he's going to be great. I mean, he's 6'4", 215, so I mean, he's a monster. And everything he's been saying so far has sounded pretty good. So, I mean, I don't know how it's going to work out the first year, but I'm pretty excited to see what he can do. So,
yeah, he's again another big guy, can high point the ball, something Josh has never had because he had Gabe Davis, but the guy couldn't catch. So very interesting. And again, I brought this up last week. Don't forget how much of a freak athlete this kid is, that he was a starting guard for the Michigan State Spartans, and now he's an NFL wide receiver for the Buffalo Bills. Like, what an awesome athlete. Hopefully it works out. I would say the same thing. I would put him, I mean, I don't even know. If you have your chance in the back-to-back in the 10th and 11th round to take Keon Coleman and Curtis Samuel, you might want to just do that because one of those guys is going to shine. What you got, Adam?
Yeah, I like Coleman a lot, man, and I agree with he's saying all the right things. He wants to come in here and he wants to make an impact right away. Of course, that's up to coaching and if they want him to make an impact right away. Big body guy. Josh hasn't had that. Again, you mentioned Davis, who was a big body guy, but had one route, and it was go long. And, people knock him for his drops and this and that, but, we said it before, and, being able to those high percentage throws, right, are not always what you want to go based on those stats with, but yeah, I think Keon Coleman is going to be a really great addition, and I think Josh Allen is he's got something there for him. So,
all right, and what you got, Dave?
Yeah, like Coleman. We talked about it a little bit. I think he's going to start slow, so I think if you do end up with him, you're going to have to kind of be patient. But again, like Chazz, I agree with you. I feel like 10th, 11th round is probably the spot where I'd be looking to grab him. If you're in your normal league and you can grab them then, great. But I just, unfortunately, with us being located where we are located in, a bunch of Bills fans, somebody's going to grab this kid in like the 5th, 6th round. And be
for sure, probably.
I mean? So, unfortunately for me, he's kind of off the draft board. I just know that I'm not going to get him where I think he should go. But, if you're not drafting with a bunch of Bills fans and you can grab him around 9, 10, I'm fine with it.
I mean, and it's not absurd to think he's in the 5th or 6th round if he has a great preseason, a great, off-season workouts and everything, because it's Josh Allen's number one receiver. I mean, for the last 4 years, Josh Allen's number one receiver went in the first round. Right, so could be Josh Allen's number one receiver.
Yeah, I mean, we got like 17 wide receivers to figure out, so
we'll see how it shakes out. We're going to move on to the Cincinnati Bengals. Oh, by the way, the Bills got a B- for that draft, and I'm okay with that. But of course, we got to get one up by the Bengals. They got a B+ because the Bengals are God. They took a tackle, which is interesting because Joe Burrow needs a little help on the line. So they took Amarius Mims out of Georgia. Taking a tackle out of Georgia is not a bad thing. But and
he's
then Chris
a monster too.
Yeah. And then Chris Jenkins from Michigan in the second round. That's good, too. They did good. They did do good. And then, so they went Georgia, Michigan, and then the third round they took wide receiver Jermaine Burton out of Alabama. And again, a winning program. Jermaine Burton is 6 foot, 194 pounds, prototypical size of nowadays receivers. You got to be interested in Jermaine Burton because of the simple fact of this T. Higgins situation. T. Higgins is, I think, holding out as of now. He's demanded a trade, and Tyler Boyd is somewhere else. Atlanta? Did Tyler Boyd go to Atlanta?
I believe he went to the Tennessee Titans.
Tennessee, okay.
Yeah.
Is that right? Really? Okay. Either way, Tyler Boyd's gone is what I'm getting at. And Jermaine Burton all of a sudden could step up and be the number 2 wide receiver of Joe Burrow's offense, which, according to fantasy football, makes him a god, right? Like,
Tyler Boyd
anybody
is
throwing
a Tennessee Titan.
Anybody that Joe Burrow throws the ball to is, it's God. So
Yeah. So yeah, we're talking shit. But he's from Alabama. He's a 3rd-round pick. That's pretty early, and he has a pathway to be a big starter. So I think he's a draftable asset. What about you, Dave?
It's interesting that you brought up Tyler Boyd, because I would say just go ahead and treat him exactly like you have been with Tyler Boyd the last 4 or whatever years, right? So Tyler Boyd is a guy that like you're almost kind of hoping for the opportunity to slide into that starting role. I mean, he's a wide receiver 3 that's going to get you some catches, but like, I don't know. For me, exactly what you said, Higgins needs to go before I'm really confident doing anything with this kid. And then, as of right now, I'm just treating him like Tyler Boyd. Like,
but there's a chance. There's a chance Higgins goes.
Yeah, there's a chance, and there's a chance, just like there was always a chance with Tyler Boyd, too. So if you head into the draft and Higgins is still part of this team and not holding out or anything like that, just treat him like Tyler Boyd. If he's there in the, late 12th or something and you're looking for your wide receiver 5, like, okay.
So you're taking Jay's cousin, Keon Coleman, over Burton as
absolutely.
Of
yeah,
okay.
Absolutely.
All right, Adam, what do you got on him?
Yeah, I agree with Dave on that. I do like the fact that you brought up Tyler Boyd. I mean, yeah, Tyler Boyd is always a guy that was always left in the later rounds that you're like, oh, man, I can't believe this guy's still here. But yeah, treat him exactly the same way. You're looking for T. Higgins to either get out, looking for Jamar Chase to miss 4 games again, something along those lines. But, yeah, I mean, he's good for depth. If you need him, barring injuries and everything like that. But yeah, it's another offense where he could be great. He could sit the bench, but treat it that way.
It's hard for me to, and we'll get to you, Jay, in a second. But it's hard for me to not envision people drafting him because we kept saying Tyler Boyd. Everyone drafted Tyler Boyd anyway.
I was one of those that has drafted Tyler Boyd on many occasions over the last few years, and that being the reason, like, oh look, he's a wide receiver 3. I need depth. If one of these guys gets hurt or both get hurt, then someone's got to step up. And I know last season I think Higgins missed a game or 2. We know Chase missed a couple games last year. Not that Tyler Boyd really did anything because Joe Burrow was hurt for most of the season. But yeah, I would say that he's definitely a safe pick in a late round to stack some depth at wide receiver.
From what I remember from Tyler Boyd last year, he was decent, and then when one of the receivers got hurt and he had his chance to shine, he blew it. If I remember correctly.
Yeah. He did.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
For sure.
Yeah, I think that's how it went. All right, what do you got, Adam J?
I kind of agree with everyone else. Like, he's not. There's no real appeal for me until we figure out what's going on with T. Higgins. So,
yeah. But there's still got to be just a touch of appeal. I just want to.
Like there's a little bit, but like not like I'm not going crazy or I'm not going to reach for him or anything like that. So like if he's there and I'm like I'll take a chance, but like that's about it.
Well, they have a pick in the 4th round, and I think this is a sleeper pick. I think this is kind of a steal. In the 4th round, they take tight end Eric All out of Iowa. And the reason I say I think this is a steal, I mean, he's your prototypical size tight end, 6'5", 250. A lot of people had him ranked as like the 2nd or 3rd tight end coming out of this draft. To get him in the 4th round is big. But the big thing about Eric All is he's an Iowa tight end, and you could take the top 5 or 6 tight ends in the league right now, and I bet you half of them are from Iowa. You ready? T.J. Hawkinson from Iowa, Sam Laporta from Iowa, George Kittle from Iowa. No really arguments that those guys are in the top 6, so half of the best tight ends in this league are from Iowa. And now we got another one rolling in, 4th round pick, headed into Joe Burrow's offense. They tried to get the tight end going last year. They tried this year because they not only took Eric All in the 4th round, they took Tanner McLaughlin in the 6th round. So they're showing that they're trying to get this tight end moving. So I don't know if he's draftable, but he could be one of those sleeper guys. So what do you think, Adam?
I mean, we all shit on the tight end position. It's just another tight end to not draft. Or if you do, it's just going to be late, right? I mean, if you don't get the top guys early, like like you have to with Kelsey, Laporta, and Andrews is coming back this year. Yeah, I mean, the Bengals haven't really had any type of tight end play in the past, right? I mean, who was their best tight end in recent years? Exactly.
Eifert like 10 years ago?
Yeah, Eifert.
Maybe Eifert, yeah.
He's made of glass.
Right, and he couldn't stay on the field. And then they had CJ Uzoma, who also couldn't stay on the field, and he's been traveling around the league these days. But, yeah, I mean...
Just someone to keep an eye on.
You definitely keep an eye on him. If you're really hurting for a tight end, really kind of just didn't get one of the top guys, and maybe you got like a mid-level guy, maybe you can draft him in the later rounds. But otherwise, I would just definitely keep free agent watch on him if nobody drafts him.
Fair enough. Either of you want anything to say about him, or do we pretty much?
I pretty much agree.
I'm totally fine with drafting him in the late rounds. I mean, you're always sitting there in the late rounds looking for just fucking anything with a pulse. I mean, you might as well, and especially if you're not grabbing like a top 5 tight end, like who knows? Yeah. I mean, who knows what tight end is going to come up and be relevant? So.
Outside like the top 3 or 4 tight ends, like it's a fucking crapshoot after that. So like it's whatever.
And then don't forget, though, an Iowa tight end from last year, a rookie, we all kind of scoffed at going to the Lions, and he tore it up. And he was a second-round pick.
But, exactly.
Well, that was because he went to the Lions, and we scoffed at the Lions in general.
It's true. That's true. Okay, so we'll move on. This one's going to be nice and quick because Pro Football Focus gave them a C+. We have got the Cleveland Browns. They took defensive lineman, guard, linebacker, cornerback, defensive interior. And then in the 5th round, they took Jamari Thrash, Louisville wide receiver. He's small. He is 6'1", but he's 185 pounds, and I really don't give a shit. Because you got to remember, they traded for big booty Jerry Jeudy. So last year you had Amari Cooper playing very well, especially towards the end of the season. You had David Njoku playing very well. Now they brought in big booty Jerry Jeudy, so I really don't care about him. Anybody?
I couldn't care less about the Browns either, and I'm in the same boat.
He put up some decent numbers in Louisville, but outside of that, I don't really care.
Very, very, very deep leagues, I would say go ahead and draft him, but other than that, you're not getting much production.
Listeners from Cleveland, we love you very much. Hard pass on Cleveland Browns this year. This is a fantasy cesspool, and I want nothing to do with any position here.
Hey, of course. Hey, we said that about Houston last year, and look at us.
Yeah,
we said that, and they were in the play. Cleveland was in the playoffs last year without Deshaun Watson and without Nick Chubb. So, I mean, we were shitting on him, but are we right? But let's move on because who gives a fuck? Yeah. So we're gonna. I find this one very interesting. I feel that this team. We're going on to the Denver Broncos. They got an A- here. And I completely agree. I think they fucking crushed this draft. This is the first real draft that head coach Sean Payton got to do himself with some early picks for once. So obviously in the first round they took so other than the players we're going to talk about, they took an edge, a corner, and an interior offensive lineman. But they took 1, 2, 3, 4 skill position players, led in the first round by Bo Nix from Oregon. Bo Nix from Oregon, I could not pick a better fit for Bo Nix from Oregon. He is, and don't confuse the talent, but he's Drew Brees. He is coming out with the same comparisons of Drew Brees. Kind of small, doesn't really throw downfield a lot, but he's very good, accurate passer. He needs to be in the right system. Well, he literally landed in Sean Payton's system, which if you guys got to remember at home, Drew Brees was considered a draft bust until he went to Sean Payton. I mean, he went and got his guy after a run. Not saying that I think Bo Nix is going to be a fantasy football star this year, but I think it's the perfect fit. If anyone is going to work out in this system with Sean Payton, it's Bo Nix. And if he does, play well, he's going to make all the other players around him better, because you got to remember, I'm pretty sure, and Jay, you could look this up, I'm pretty sure at the end of this season, Bo Nix finished the college football season as the most accurate quarterback in the history of college football.
I'm pretty sure you're right. He was 77.3%
77.3 completion percentage. That is fucking sane.
And
so like, it's just like that's what it is. What were you going to say about him?
His passer rating was 135.7 as well.
Insane. So like, yeah, he doesn't have the biggest arm, but neither did Drew Brees. And Sean Payton figured it out. So like, again, I'm not putting Bo Nix in my top 12 quarterbacks, but like I feel he's going to surprise some people. So Jay, you already started talking. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I think it's a perfect fit. Like his attributes are accurate, and he gets the ball out fast.
Boom.
So that's basically Drew Brees. He's a little bit taller than Drew Brees. So, I mean, if he's going to be good anywhere, being a Bronco is probably the best chance of him being good. So,
and he had a more prolific college career than Drew Brees. Drew Brees was a second-round pick. This guy went 12th overall. So, like, and he really went into the right system. What do you think, Dave?
I actually like Bo Nix a lot. I know he doesn't have the biggest arm, but, like, I don't know, man. That argument is like I get it. Like I get it, but every NFL quarterback can throw the ball deep.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like I get it. He doesn't have the quote unquote big arm, but every quarterback can throw the ball deep. It's not like every single play is going to be a 5-yard dunk. So I mean, I'm not super worried about that. And honestly, like you said, like I think this kid has a chance to kind of make it long term in this system. So like you said, I'm not drafting him as like a top 12 quarterback. But if you're somebody who drafts a backup quarterback, like I don't know, go ahead and take him, especially if you're in some type of like if you're in like a keeper league or something like that, you just want to take a shot on him in like the 16th round or something as your backup quarterback, like whatever, just grab him, see what he does.
Especially too, like if you have like Mahomes or Allen or whatever, and like basically every week those two guys would be starting for you, except for on their bye. Right. Then why not have Bo Nix on your bench just in case? Yeah. You never know.
And if he takes the lead early, just go ahead and trade him away or hang on to him or whatever you got to do.
But now it's time that he could build the offense around this kid too. Like if this team comes out, and Adam, we'll get to you in 1 second. If this team comes out and Bo Nix plays good, if Bo Nix plays like I don't know as good as just any mid, like as good as what's his face the Raiders kid last year,
Aiden O'Connell.
I mean, he wasn't terrible. He was fine. If he comes out fine and wins half their games, they're going to roll with this kid and build around him, and I think there's a chance. All right, go ahead.
It's not like he has a lot of competition in Denver either. So
that's exactly what I was going to say, and I agree with Chazz. And they have Bo Nix here in Sean Payton's system, and again, Sean Payton was brought in to revamp the Denver Broncos. I mean, they gave him control of the draft. He got his guy, and he wants to develop him. Now you start putting the pieces around him to hopefully make him great, right? And as Jay just said, they have zero competition in Denver. I mean, he is going up against Zach Wilson. If we know Zach Wilson's history, he will be benched sometime during the season, and Bo Nix may get a shot early on, especially if they are losing games early. I mean, what's the harm in starting a rookie quarterback in place?
You forgot the legend, Stidham, too.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Jared Stidham is there, too. We all know where he came from.
So, let's remember this conversation next year when Sean Payton revives the career of Zach Wilson like he did for Drew Brees.
Hey, you know what? And more power to him, man, because if he can, then great. But yeah, I mean, I agree with everything that that you guys have already said. And Dave, again, if you want to draft him late, sure. If you're in a keeper league, if you're in a dynasty league, obviously you want to have Bo Nix on your roster. Dynasty leagues, quarterbacks typically end up going in the first round anyway, just because they're rookies, and obviously you never know. But yeah, I mean, he's not a big guy, but he's got drafted for a reason. So
average size guy. I'm a little excited to talk about the next guy, unless anyone has anything else to say. They went and drafted his number one wide receiver, Troy Franklin. We have seen that a lot in the NFL. They paired Tua with Waddle. They paired Jamar Chase with Burrow. They just did Bo Nix and Oh my God, Troy Franklin. This guy coming into the draft, I was excited for. I thought he was going to be an early second-round pick. They nabbed him in the fourth round, early fourth round. Yep. He's an athletic freak. I mean, he's not like a monster. He's 6'3", 187. He's fast. He's explosive. He's raw. But now you're putting him into an awesome offensive system with one of the premier offensive minds in the NFL. I mean, yeah, he made Russell Wilson look good last year, actually, at some times with Sean Payton. So Sean Payton still got it. So yeah, Sean Payton still got it. I think I think right now this guy walks in as their number 3, possibly number 2. They took Marvin Mims in the second last year. They got rid of Big Booty Jerry Jeudy. This guy's got playing time, and I think this guy needs to be drafted. What do you think, Dave?
I mean, I don't know, man. This is tough for me.
The giant sigh says it all.
This is tough for me because, like, I don't know. They went out and they got Reynolds for a reason, and I don't know, dude. Josh Reynolds is a fucking enigma to me. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't understand it. But for whatever reason, these teams just keep grabbing him and trying to make him into something. So I feel like it's going to be like the same kind of situation. Like the Broncos are going to try to make Reynolds into something. They've already invested in Mims, Patrick. I mean, like Sutton. I don't know. There's just going to be like a lot of mouths to feed there.
Yeah, Marvin Mims too.
And they got the most accurate quarterback ever, so who knows, right? Like, who knows? You never know.
Yeah, but it's just a lot of mouths to feed. You know what I mean? Like, if these dudes all end up... Like, there's a possibility you could have 5 dudes on this team go for, like, four catches and 36 yards. You know what I mean? And it's like, what the... You know?
But I feel Franklin's the guy that already has the chemistry with Nix, which puts him maybe a little above. And then everybody seems to love Cortland Sutton, even though he's never done anything in the NFL. Okay, he did get 10 touchdowns, I believe. But still, that's always my thought. What about you guys? You got anything to say about him?
No.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Dave for the most part. They do have a lot of guys to feed. But fantasy-wise, I'm a big, big fan of either getting an early wide receiver and then hopefully pairing their quarterback with them. The fact that they did it at the draft for Bo Nix and Franklin, that's huge. People don't realize it, but having that rapport already with the guy that you like and trust is massive. I think you might be able to get away with drafting him late. I wouldn't say he's going to be the guy, especially if Bo Nix doesn't start right away. But if we do end up seeing Bo Nix come into the mix, I do think that Franklin could see some, accelerated playing time, just based on the fact that they already have a rapport.
All right, fair enough. And then they drafted 2 more people. They drafted another receiver in the 7th round, Devon Vele from Utah. I really don't care about 7th round receivers. And then 5th round, they took a running back, Audric Estime from Notre Dame, who's good, but you want to talk about a crowded room. Like, they have 3 or 4 running backs as it is. So I really don't care. But 5 is still kind of early, so it's just someone to keep your ear on. Let's move to Houston Texans because I don't think we have much to say. Here's the Houston Texans draft. Cornerback, tackle, safety, tight end, who is backing up Dalton Schultz, so I don't care. Linebacker, running back in the 6th round, who's backing up Joe Mixon, so I don't care really that much. And the other guy, Dameon Pierce, and then edge rusher, defensive lineman, and tackle. So very defensive head coach draft. I got nothing to say. Anybody?
Got nothing.
Nope.
Okay, and they got a B+ because they went heavy on the. I mean, they built up the defense and the line around C.J. Stroud. Nothing wrong with that. We're going to move on to the Indianapolis Colts. What do you guys think about their grade? An A+.
Ambitious.
Yeah.
It's pretty goddamn good, man. They got who I thought was the best edge rusher in the draft in Laitu Latu out of UCLA. And then they got Adonai Mitchell in the 2nd round from Texas, who started over Xavier Worthy, who was probably the number 4 or 5 receiver in the draft. They got him late in the 2nd round because of character issues. So if he blows up, fantastic. I just, if those character issues are true, I mean, what do you got another Stephon Diggs on your hand? But with not a rookie anymore, but a young team, a young quarterback, who has Michael Pittman, who has Alec Pierce, who has Josh Downs, and now you're bringing in Adonai Mitchell with Jonathan Taylor. watch out now. I've just got to say, watch out now with I love it for AR. What do you think, Adam?
Yeah, I mean, Donnie Mitchell, I thought was the better of the two Texas receivers anyway. And for him to go into the second round, I thought he was going to be a first-round pick for sure. I know it was an early second-round pick, so whether a steal or not, maybe if you want to just consider him not going in the first round a steal.
He was like mid to late. He was the 20th pick of the second round, so that's kind of late.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. I read that number wrong. That says 52. That's my bad. Yeah. But, yeah, either way. Okay, so then, I do consider that a steal. I thought he was the better receiver anyway. But, yeah, I mean, with Anthony Richardson coming back, again, man, just rookies just don't excite me very often, especially fantasy-wise. But he's definitely worth a late pick.
All right. What about you, Dave?
This one actually does excite me. I'm excited for Mitchell. I don't know, dude. The Colts have been searching for wide receiver 2 for forever, and I know Downs came on a little bit as of late, but just I don't know. My gut just says that's kind of flash in the pan. I feel like they're going to give Mitchell a shot to be the wide receiver 2, and I think he's a good enough wide receiver to hold the job.
Well, I always felt like between Downs and the other guy I just said, Pierce. Pierce. I always felt those guys were wide receiver 3s.
Right.
So now they legit got a number 1 and a number 2, possibly number 1.
I always had high hopes for Pierce, and he was my sleeper pick a couple times, but never ended up panning out. And so hopefully Donnie Mitchell is their guy. I mean, I do like Mitchell. Like I said, I liked him better than Worthy anyway, and for them to draft him late in the second round, like, good for them.
And I think the reason they got the A+, other than, like I said, nailing the best pass rusher in the draft, and a really good receiver, is they struggled last year with their offensive line and their secondary. So after those 2 picks, listen to what they drafted. Tackle, center, another receiver, safety, cornerback. Like, they attacked their needs. And I think that's why they got an A+. Jay, what do you think about A.D. Mitchell?
I like it, especially if AR is coming back. If Pittman and Mitchell are cooking, and Taylor actually does something, it's going to be a damn good offense, I think.
Yeah, it's very, very true. And then just got to keep AR healthy, but they drafted some linemen, right? So they're doing what they can do. So. All right, let's move on to the Jacksonville Jaguars, and really the only person to talk about, well, there's 2. In the first round, they took Brian Thomas Jr. from LSU, and a lot of people had the Bills taking them, but he didn't make it. And, it made perfect sense for them. Get Trevor Lawrence, a number 2, maybe number 1 receiver. I mean, he's their number 1 probably in, like, prototypical ways. Like, Christian Kirk is not built like a number 1. Brian Thomas Jr. is built like a number 1. So he's going to go right in there and fill Calvin Ridley's role. He's big. He's 6'4", 205. I think he's great. And I think he is great. And I think it's the perfect pairing in this offense. And I think he can have almost the same exact production that Calvin Ridley had last year, which wasn't incredible, but was good. Just good, fair. I think this kid can end up as a number 2 receiver in fantasy football this year. Perfect situation, perfect player. That's where I go. What do you think, Jay?
I agree. I had Ridley in fantasy, and he did very well. So I mean, I think
did okay. Like I think he finished number 23. 24.
I mean, he put up some big weeks. So I think this is a good fit for him, and I think he's probably going to do better than Gabe is going to do.
Well, stop. I didn't even say that because that didn't need to be said. What do you think, Dave?
Yeah, honestly, this is probably the one that I'm most excited for in the AFC. I think he comes in, has an immediate impact. I really like the kid. I like his skill set. He's got a bunch of speed, and like we talked about, I got a little bit of a soft spot for Trevor Lawrence, man. I think he can do it. And competition is Gabe Davis. So.
Well, for the outside role, Christian Kirk, we can't say on Christian Kirk or Evan Ingram, but your number 1 wide receiver.
Yeah, no, and I'm not even saying that Kirk or Ingram's going to have a bad year. I think they're going to complement each other very, very well. But without a doubt, Brian Thomas Jr. is at the very least wide receiver 2 on this team. Like week 1 immediately.
Yeah.
You know
they might say Gabe Davis, and then by week 3 they're like, yeah.
No.
Not so much Gabe Davis.
They're going to get through 3 preseason games of Gabe Davis and then start asking for that $40 million back.
Yeah, exactly.
They're going to be calling the Bills like, hey,
hey, you guys paying any of this contract at all, or what?
Hey, guys, is there any way you could let us in on the secret of how you guys made this guy look good for 3 games out of the season?
By the way, I just wanted to
is Josh Allen.
I just wanted to compare the size of Brian Thomas and Gabe Davis, because we always say Gabe Davis is a big guy. Gabe Davis is 6'5", 225, pretty big guy. Brian Thomas is 6'4", 205, so he's an inch taller, 20 pounds lighter, but he's a rookie. He can probably put on another 20 pounds or so by the time the season starts. Yeah. So very similar built and a much better skill set.
Yeah. And 6'4", 205 is pretty standard. I mean, he's that light because he's speedy. You know what I mean? Yeah. Does he really even need to put on poundage? I don't know.
And you got to remember, he's coming from LSU, so he had Jaden Daniels, and he was the number 2 wide receiver for Jaden Daniels winning the Heisman, of course, behind. Oh my God, why am I drawing a blank on the guy that the Giants drafted? Malik Neighbors. Thank you. Malik Neighbors, the number 1 option. Brian Thomas is their number 2 option, and fucking Jaden Daniels wins the Heisman Trophy. Like, he's a very good player. Adam, what you got?
Yeah, I agree. Big guy, man. I was really excited for him. I was really hoping that he would have fell to the Bills. We've said it already. Bills have been looking for a big-bodied guy who can get up and catch the ball vertically, high point that ball. Brian Thomas he's gonna make an immediate impact for the Jaguars, I think, and Trevor Lawrence is a guy who likes to spread the ball around, so he could see some playing time very early in the season.
And they also took in the 5th round running back Keelan Robinson out of Texas. It's just an interesting pick. Keelan Robinson was Jonathan Brooks' backup. He was Bijan Robinson's 3rd string running back, but they need an answer at 2nd running back because it's not working for anybody as their backup, right? As their 2nd string running back. They were trying with what's his name, Tank Bigsby. It wasn't working. So just someone to keep an eye on. Maybe he carves himself off a role, but he's a small guy, 5'9", 188. Couldn't even start in college. I don't know if it's worth anything. So let's just move on. All right, here we go. The Chiefs. We'll talk about them, but they also took a tackle, a tight end, a safety, a corner, a center, and a guard. So they did what they did, but I think the most controversial pick in the draft, we need to talk about him. They traded up with the Buffalo Bills and took Xavier Worthy, and we need to discuss. So I've been leading the conversation, so why don't you, Dave?
I mean, this is probably the worst one for you to let me lead, but I don't know, man. I got no interest in this. I just don't. I understand the speed is there, but this seems to be a going trend, especially with Kansas City. Is everybody's just kind of always searching for that Patrick Mahomes' favorite target, and I get it. Last year, Rashee Rice came on a little bit and kind of was like the outlier to the norm. But the norm says that you're going to draft somebody you think is going to be Kansas City's wide receiver 1, and it's just not going to pan out. So I don't know. I'm not touching this one. I'm not interested at all.
Yeah, we touched it last week. Jay, what do you think?
I hate this pick. I think he's too small. Height-wise and weight-wise. I mean, he's basically the same height as Tyreek Hill, but Tyreek Hill has 20 pounds on him.
Yeah,
as of right now. I mean, you're 172 in the National Football League. If he goes up against a normal corner, you're talking 6 foot plus and probably 200ish pounds.
And he's a speed guy, so he's going up against the bigger safeties a lot.
Yeah. So I mean, they're just going to throw him around like he's a doll.
Yeah. It's tough. I mean, speed can only be so much. Adam, what do you think?
I hate it. I'm not touching Xavier Worthy. I don't care that he's got Patrick Mahomes throwing him the ball. I don't care that he's got Andy Reid as his coach. Love Andy Reid. I think he's a fantastic coach. Probably the best coach in the league. I just don't care how fast he is. It doesn't matter. I agree with Dave. Kansas City is always looking for that next favorite target of Patrick Mahomes. And don't get me wrong, I know Patrick Mahomes is great, and I know he can do a lot of things. The Worthy just doesn't
excite
me.
He's your boyfriend, basically.
Yeah, I mean, sure.
and this
Worthy
is the thing, too.
Doesn't do it for me. No, I was just going to say he doesn't do it for me.
This is the thing, too, is that somebody's coming into your draft being like, he's Pat Mahomes' number one target,
sure.
blah, 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 6th round.
It's always one guy.
Xavier Worthy, and you're like, okay.
Right? Yeah. I've said it before, I'll say it again. If this trend is true, then Darius Hayward-Bay would be in the Hall of Fame, and John Ross would be the number one receiver in the NFL right now, and the fucking Henry Ruggs, couldn't even run as fast as his car, but like he would be a fantastic receiver in the NFL right now. But it's not just about speed, and those speed guys rarely work out because, mind you, Tyreek Hill is a speed guy. He was like a 4th or 5th round pick, so it's a reach. And I've said it before: the guy knows how to run one route, and he doesn't even run it that well. He wasn't even the starter in Texas. So let's just I haven't read this, but I want to read what PFF wrote about him, because PFF, they are the way into the analytics and deeper stats, and they bring out some interesting things. And this is what they said about him: Kansas City trades up to select fastest player in combine history. Worthy, owner of the 4.21 40-yard dash, gives Patrick Mahomes the most explosive outside threat he's had since the departure of Tyreek Hill. However, Worthy earned PFF's receiving grades in the low 70s in each of the last 2 years, and there's concerns about his 172-pound frame. Everything we said, right? Like, and them going diving on the analytics, like think about that. They had Keon Coleman like ranked 8th, and his grades were like in the low to mid 80s, and this guy was ranked in the low 70s. I mean, that doesn't mean anything, but still, like it's an interesting thing. And I don't really care about the tight end they put in, because they have a great tight end and one of those other backup white tight ends. You do something. Noah Gray, Blake Bell. Yeah, one of those guys.
They catch a touchdown here and there.
Yeah, but I don't care. So I don't care about the tight end. Even if Travis Kelce gets pregnant, I don't care about the tight end. So,
whoa.
You think she's gonna carry the baby, bro? Stop. This is 2022. Wait, 2024.
And we're canceled. This has been a great time, guys.
Yeah. Well, let's keep on rolling here. We're gonna talk about the Las Vegas Raiders, and I love their first round pick. He's kind of in a wasteland, I feel, but maybe not. Brock Bowers from Georgia. I said this before. We love Dalton Kincaid. I love Dalton Kincaid. This guy's a more talented Dalton Kincaid. Just because Dalton Kincaid's on the Bills doesn't mean he's the greatest tight end in the league. This guy is a just like Dalton Kincaid, but better. Bigger, faster, better college career and everything. Dominated in Georgia. So you've seen how Dalton Kincaid could come in to the league and play pretty goddamn well. This guy has such a better athletic profile, but he's going to the Raiders. So that's the scary part as fantasy. If you're talking dynasty, this guy could be Travis Kelce in 5 years. He could be. I mean, he very well could be. And who knows, right? I just love him. I think he's great. And the Raiders played pretty decent last year. So now they're throwing out Jacoby Myers, Devontae Adams, Brock Bowers, and Baby Gronk from last year. Unfortunately, it's with Aiden O'Connell, or best backup quarterback in the league, Mr. Mustache. So I just like him, but I just don't really know how I feel about him in fantasy. I wouldn't lean on him. I would actually be more I don't know. I would say he's a late. I wouldn't even draft him. I don't know. I mean, he's just such a good player. I just don't know if it's the time for him yet. Anybody got anything to say about him?
No, I pretty much agree.
Yeah, but here's the thing. He's better than Michael Mayers.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I think he's worth a draft if you're looking for a tight end, or you just didn't get one of the guys. Again, tight end, it's a shitty position. I hate drafting it. But I mean, if I'm in desperate need of one and I'm late in rounds, sure, I'll take a flyer on him, just because they don't have. Even if Myers does play, they're going to run a 2 tight end set. I mean, he's probably going to be the guy. So. But, I mean, he's a fantastic player, and I agree with everything you said. So, I mean, coming from Georgia. I mean, Georgia produces some pretty good football players.
Yeah, 6'4", 240, fast, great hands. He is the, I feel, better version of Dalton Kincaid. Again, that means like in Madden, he's going to be ranked at 94. Kincaid's going to be ranked at 90. You know, like he's just a little bit better. Dalton Kincaid, though, has Josh Allen. This guy doesn't. So those are different with fantasy football. What do you think, Dave? Anything special?
Yeah, honestly, dude, I think he's 100% draftable. Like, okay. I think he's an absolute beast. I mean, I'm not drafting him as my TE1. If you leave the draft with Brock Bowers as your TE1, you're in trouble. Yeah. But I think the talent is there enough to take a flyer, especially if you drafted a late round TE and you're not super excited about your starting lineup anyway. And I get it, like Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew are there, but I don't know, man, for like for some quarterbacks like that, especially O'Connell, like, I don't know, if O'Connell gets the start, man, he looks for the safety blanket. That's why Mayer was so popular last year. And like, I don't know, I think he fills that void, and they already have him listed above Mayer on the depth chart. Like, he's already listed as TE1. So.
I just worry a little bit about defensive-minded head coaches and rookies. We've said that a lot, right?
Yeah.
So
and I totally get it, but I think if you're sitting there in like the 13th, 14th round or something like that, and you're like, man, my tight end sucks. Like, I might as well take a flyer. You could do a lot worse than Brock Bowers because he's an absolute freak of nature, and Aiden O'Connell made Michael Mayer look like quote unquote baby Gronk. You know what I mean? I mean, it's a possibility he could be very relevant.
All right, fair enough. We all had our say on him, and I wouldn't be surprised. I think he's fantastic. But let's move on because this is taking forever. We still got like 5 more teams, so let's
speed it up.
Let's turn up the speed a little bit. Jay's Los Angeles Chargers got an A for the draft, the best tackle in the draft. If you guys remember on the pre-draft show, I said I would put my house on it that Jim Harbaugh drafts a lineman, and he did in the first round. So he takes Joe out in the first round, and then the second round he gets good. He gets Ladd McConkey, someone to talk about, wide receiver out of aforementioned Georgia, 6 foot, 185, good speed, good on the outside, but everyone's looking at him, maybe because he's white, as a slot receiver, but he's a little bit better than that. But I think he's Keenan Allen's replacement, obviously. He's not Mike Williams' replacement, he's Keenan Allen's replacement. Yep. Right? So he's gonna fill that role pretty nicely, and he's draftable. He's draftable, right? With some of the more prolific secondary workers we talked about, like Keon Coleman and stuff like that. He'll be right around. He'll probably be before Keon Coleman's in a lot of places, honestly.
Yeah,
because he doesn't got any competition. Who? Palmer.
And the rookie from last
Johnson,
year. Yeah, Quentin Johnson.
So he doesn't have any competition.
St. Joe has something to say to you.
And they also drafted 2 receivers late in this draft. But does anybody really want to talk about McConkey? I just think it's you don't slide him into where Keenan Allen was. Keenan Allen was like a 4th round pick, but this guy's going to go in like the 7th or 8th round, and I think he'll be good for it.
Yeah, I agree.
Definitely worth a draft. I mean, you can definitely, if you need depth at wide receiver, sure, I'll take him.
I don't even know if he's daft. I mean, I think he's going to be a wide receiver 3, just walking into that role with that quarterback, and how the offense is going to change to be a more run and quick passing. I think he's going to be better than people are giving credit for. Maybe not a top 24, but he could be. What do you think, Dave?
Jay, earmuffs time, buddy. Short and sweet. Fuck the Chargers. The Chargers is a fantasy wasteland. I want nothing to do with the Chargers. I've already scrolled past them. Fuck that whole team.
Is this stemming from Austin Eckler from last year? No,
I can forgive and forget. I'm just, I look at every opportunity as a new opportunity, and the opportunity for the Chargers this year is to let everybody else draft this trash.
We do have to talk about the last 3 rounds. The last 3 rounds they took. They took 3 more offensive players. Imani Vidal, running back from Troy. They really don't have a running back. They have the old Ravens running backs who always get hurt, so keep an eye on them. And they drafted Cornelius Johnson from Michigan and Jerry Rice's son, but I really don't care about those 2. But the running back, keep in the back of your head, I would say, because who knows how long the Gus Bus and J.K. Dobbins are going to last, right? So
yeah.
Well, Dobbins only has about half a game, so
yeah, if you're lucky,
before something else on him tears or breaks or whatever.
Yeah.
So we'll move on just to save time here. We're going to move on to the Miami Dolphins, and they had I feel they had an interesting draft. They took Chop Robinson edge, whatever. In the fourth round, they took running back Jalen Wright out of Tennessee. And guess what, guys? I think he was the fastest running back in the draft. Shocking, going to Miami. Kind of early in the the fourth round? Kind of early. That's where they took Achane last year. So now you got Achane, Jalen Wright, and Mostert. So I think the Dolphins running backs are going to be headaches, boys, in fantasy football.
Yep.
It's also going to be a headache to pick which one you want to start every week.
Yeah.
But, I mean, if they keep the trend of last year, you could start either one and you're going to get points.
But they got a third now.
But now they have a third, so that's going to just complicate everything. And he's basically the same player as the other two, who's a fast running back out of the backfield, catch the ball. Oh, I hate to admit it, but Miami might be a problem.
Hey, he's got a good, speedy offense, and then they'll choke in the playoffs like they've done every year.
Like they do every year. Absolutely.
I mean, it is what it is. Dave, anything on him?
Achane or bust.
Achane or bust? Okay, I mean, I might feel that way
That's all I got on the Dolphins.
We feel that way because he was good last year. Jalen Wright's the same exact draft pick. Interesting. 2 receivers late, but I don't care. They have enough receivers there, right?
Yeah.
No, I don't care about them.
We're good.
Okay, now we got some players to actually talk about, so we'll move on here. New England Patriots, Drake May, 3rd overall. Fuck him, not this year. He's got a good arm. You ain't doing shit, New England, this year. Does anybody think about putting him as your QB2 or anything?
Hard pass.
Yeah. Massive pass.
Yep.
Jalen Polk, wide receiver out of Washington. He's a draftable asset because he's got to have to throw the ball to somebody. Right? So, and then
I don't even know who their wide receivers are.
Demario Douglas, right?
So
Jalen Polk, it's draftable later. They took another receiver, Javon Baker, in the 4th. So, I mean, they're trying. They're building. They also took Joe Milton out of Tennessee, quarterback in the 6th round. Now, Joe Milton profiles like Josh Allen coming out of college. Just big, fast guy, 6'5", 235, absolutely no accuracy. And that's what they all said about Josh Allen. So for the Bills' sake, I hope he's not Josh Allen. But Joe Milton could be that guy that's like Kirk Cousins. If you guys remember, Washington drafted RG3, 2nd overall, Kirk Cousins in the 4th round, and 3 years later, Kirk Cousins took over the team. It could be a Joe Milton sighting.
And is still in the league, and RG3 is nowhere to be found except for on Good Morning Football or whatever he plays.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. So nobody wants to say anything about May, right?
No.
Good.
All right, moving on to, here we go. Of course, they got an A because they got baby boy Aaron Rodgers. The New York Jets get an A. Well, they drafted a tackle, which I believe he needed little tackle help. But then they went all offense, actually, because of the tackle. They went Malachi Corley from Western Kentucky in the 3rd round, who is slotting into possibly their 3rd wide receiver, but I really don't care. But you know that Aaron Rodgers does like to distribute the ball, so it's interesting. They took Braylon Allen out of Wisconsin, and he's a back I liked, and I think he's the perfect addition with Breece Hall, because Braylon Allen, listen to the size. You guys ready for this? 6'2", 245 pounds. That is a mountain of a running back.
That's a baby bus.
That's a big boy.
So that's somebody that I can think could carry the load and help take a little pressure off of Breece Hall, because Breece Hall was their everything last year. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm just not making me go down on Breece Hall. And then they took another running back later, and Travis the quarterback. But I think Braylon Allen, another late round running back, is someone you can throw on your roster to get some touchdowns if you need them. I really do. I mean, 4th round running backs, they always produce somewhere.
Yeah.
We just said Devin Achane was a 4th round running back. So, and Breece Hall took a pounding last year, and he's not the model of consistency when it comes to health either. So, interesting. So, you got anything to say, Adam?
You got King Henry, and you got Prince Allen. Yeah, I think Braylon Allen is a beast. I think he could be very, very good in this league, and I agree he could vulture some touchdowns from Breece Hall to give him a little bit of a break. So we'll see what happens. It all depends on what Aaron Rodgers wants to do. So if he's you know what, Breece needs a break, then Allen comes in. But but I think Braylon
Gotta
Allen
talk
has a
football.
very, very good chance of being great in this league.
Anybody want to touch on that or Malachi Corley?
No.
Nothing for you, Dave?
I mean, Allen is probably the Tolbert effect. If I had to put a guess on it, he could be just like a goal line vulture. If I honestly think so. And Corley, I mean, we're still worried about fucking the number one wide receiver at the Jets. Like, people are still drafting Garrett Wilson in the second round. Like, I'm fucking so done with the Jets wide receivers. So
Well, and don't forget they got Mike Williams, who's going to get hurt, and then Corley could be the number 2 at some point. So just you do got to keep it in mind. Is all.
yeah.
Jay, do you want to call the wife in because we're about to talk about the Steelers?
No.
No, we're good. Okay.
We're good.
Okay, so Steelers. We talked about the Ravens doing a draft pick. Here's the Steelers picks: tackle, center, receiver, linebacker, guard, defensive lineman, cornerback. That's the Steelers for you. They took Roman Wilson, receiver out of Michigan. I mean, 6 foot, 192 pounds, but the guy could be something. They traded away their number 1, right? So all they're bringing back is Pickens. Who's their number 2 right now?
Van Jefferson.
Van Jefferson? All right. Are we going to trust Van Jefferson over the rookie Roman Wilson? Right? I don't know. I don't think so.
That's what I was going to say.
Probably
I was
not.
actually kind of excited about Roman Wilson. Because,
Yeah.
I mean, he's a good wide receiver, dude, and he's just got to beat out Van Jefferson, which is very easy and has been done plenty
Very
of times
easy.
before.
Yeah.
And say what you want about Justin Fields and Russell Wilson. I mean, I get it, but they're still okay.
A guy
quarterbacks.
named Tutu
You know what I mean? They're like
beat out Van Jefferson.
and Puka. Tutu and Puka.
Tutu and Puka
Roman
both
Wilson-
beat out Van Jefferson.
So Roman Wilson's definitely someone to consider. He's definitely draftable, and especially which I think they're going to do, they're going to go with Russell Wilson.
Unlimited.
You got to start him, and he knows how to deliver the ball. He had a good year last year. I think Russell Wilson finished as quarterback 13 or something like that in fantasy football. So I mean, it's worth it. Anybody want to touch on Roman Wilson? We got one more team, and then we can do a draft.
no, I'm good.
I'm good.
Okay, all right.
I feel like he's draftable. He's definitely draftable.
Yeah. Everybody
Yep.
draftable? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd take a shot.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, and we're done here because of the Tennessee Titans, and they took a wide receiver in the 6th round, but he's automatically like their number 6,
Yeah, nobody cares.
right? Because
Yeah, we
got
can pass. We
they
can
got
pass.
D Hop, they got
Ridley,
Ridley,
Boyd,
they got
Burks.
Burks. So who cares? So that's it. So that's the AFC. Took a little while, but we made it, guys. We made it here just at an hour, and then we got our little extra content. You guys ready to draft our favorite quarterbacks of all time?
Born ready.
All right, let's give it a theme song. Do I have a theme song for this?
Oh shit! My boy brought cards to this
Yeah,
draft.
we
Let's
had
Got
to.
the draft
I don't
pick,
know.
baby. Just say
You know what the theme song is? Because
the
here's the theme
Scorpions.
song. Because we haven't done a draft in a while, right? All right, so Adam's holding the cards for the first,
Those are
I'm gonna-
dope.
third, and fourth. We're going to do 5 rounds of our favorite quarterbacks. Let me set the stage for the people at home. A favorite quarterback. If your favorite quarterback's Tom Brady, great. Like, it doesn't have to be the greatest quarterbacks. It's somebody you liked watching. It could be in college. It could be the NFL. It's somebody you like to watch. It's somebody you like to use in Madden. It's somebody you liked on your fantasy football team. The idea is just to dig up some memories of some old school quarterbacks. All right, you guys ready?
Ready.
All right, Adam's holding the card, so Adam gets the last one available.
I get the last card available, so who wants to pick first?
So, Dave, if we're looking at your screen, left to right, that would be Adam's right to left. It would be Adam's right to left. But on the screen, it's left to right. Pick
Give me
1, 2, 3, or 4.
All the way left, buddy. All the way left.
So
My
the
left
first
or your
one?
left?
First one.
This one?
First one.
Yep.
Yeah, that one.
All right, where's Dave at?
4th pick, buddy.
He was picking 4. All right, Jay, it is your turn now. Remember, the one on your left, Jay, is 1, and the one on your left, Adam, is 3.
I'll go right in the middle.
Right in the middle. So made it easy.
Jay,
All right.
first pick.
God
Jay,
damn it.
quick.
Look at that.
I'll trade you.
Scorpion on there.
All right. And then
Chazz.
I get the last one.
Left or right?
So, Adam, give me the one on my left, your right. My left, your right. Yep, that one. So I got the
Second pick,
deuce.
buddy.
All right, and then Adam's sitting
That
at
which
3.
leaves me
All right.
with 3.
All right, so you guys heard the rules. Your favorite quarterbacks can be college. I just want to hear some cool, fun names here, and we're gonna do 5, and that's about 20 quarterbacks to discuss. So Jay, start us off, baby.
Are we going 1 to 5 or 5 to 1?
Well, you got to go 1 to 5 because you want to draft your guy.
All right.
Don't leave your guy.
I just wanted to double check, you know.
We'll do it like a draft. I mean, if your favorite you think you're going to get later, then go for it later. You know, it's a draft.
All right. My number 1 is Steve Young.
I knew you were going to do that.
I got to, man. He's my guy.
Yeah, I mean, you drafted him in your all-time team. I mean, one of the original scrambler, well, not original, but the early '90s scrambling, making plays, throwing downfield, breaking tackles, lefty. Love Steve Young. You being a few years younger than me, you still got memories of Steve Young. That's cool.
Yeah, and he was my first jersey I ever had, I believe. It was either him or Jerry Rice were my first jersey.
It wasn't the Rex Grossman jersey?
No.
You got the Rex Grossman.
Yeah,
I wonder if he's going to be on your list. We'll have to see. I loved him. I loved using him in the later Maddens, or no, actually NFL 2K, the early one. He was in that first one, the one from '99, NFL 2K.
Yep.
And he was old, but he was fun and he was great. What about you guys? Any memories of Steve Young?
Great pick. That's all I got to say. He was fun to watch for sure.
Mm-hmm. Very fun.
I don't got anything to add. I think everything's been said.
I hate him. He sucks.
No, he doesn't suck. He doesn't suck.
Dave's also not that impressed. He's like, whatever. Steve Young.
He's only got one.
Fuck that guy.
He only won one championship as a starter.
Yeah.
I'm a bitter berry today, guys. It's fucking 90 degrees in this room.
All right, well, I'm going to keep it going. I'm going to go modern, and I feel I have to get him because I think he's the best quarterback in the league, and I love to watch him. Josh Allen. I take Josh Allen on my team. I love him. I think he's already starting off as a Hall of Famer.
Fucking homer.
I don't care if he's a Bill. If he was on the Tennessee Titans, I would think he is fantastic. He's got the best arm in the league. He's strong. He's fast. He's quick. He's everything you want in a quarterback. He's a leader. I love him. I love to watch Josh Allen. He is one of my favorite quarterbacks of all time, and he's really creeping up to being my favorite quarterback of all time. So, Josh Allen. And I know we don't really need to discuss him. Everybody loves Josh Allen. So.
Yep.
I love the fact that, guys, this dude before we started this show was like, "Oh yeah, I want to do this draft, but throw out some unique names. I don't want to hear fucking Peyton Manning and Tom Brady."
One,
and then
David.
first pick, it goes, "Oh, I love Josh Allen."
We're in round 1. You just told me. We're in round 1.
Not only is he fucking homer, but he was like, I don't want to hear Tom Brady. I don't want to hear Peyton Manning. We all know they're the best.
I didn't say I don't want to. I just said the draft is not to pick the best. It's to pick your favorite. And Josh Allen is one of my favorites. So what do you got, Adam?
Well, my pick here, guy that I love to watch. I don't know why I have I do have his jersey hanging up in the closet. I'm taking Donovan McNabb, dude.
Oh,
Syracuse guy. Loved watching him in college. Translated in the NFL very nicely. I mean, I just loved watching him throw the ball around. He's probably one of my favorites of all time.
Top 5 quarterback his entire career, almost in the league. He always.
Donovan McNabb was definitely on my list. I loved watching him play, and he provided me with my very first fantasy championship ever.
Nice.
There it is.
Nice.
Let's
And
go.
he was also great to play in Madden.
Yeah.
So that was always fun, too. So very, very good pick. You got anything on him, Jay, or no?
No, great pick.
Yeah,
Legend.
Absolutely. You can't go wrong. Dave, what do you got for your first round pick? And then we'll get your second, but I want your first round pick.
All right, first round pick. Let's go ahead and get the controversy started because I'm going to go with the one and only Mr. Michael Vick. And
you fucking asshole.
I understand all the bullshit that goes along with Michael Vick, but
I love him.
You got to remember back in the day, watching Michael Vick was absolutely electric. You have a full-blown running back with Olympic sprinter speed, just making plays left and right, hucking that ball down the field.
The strongest arm in the league, too.
Just watching him play was so much fun. As soon as he snapped the ball, it was just so exciting to watch him play. And even when he took his little time off and came back with Philadelphia, and everybody was like, "Oh, he's fucking washed up." Watching him play was still fun, man. He was still great. So I'm doing it, Michael Vick.
Absolutely love him. I just called you Dick because I wanted him. I should have probably took him first because I said Josh is almost my favorite quarterback of all time. Hate me all you want, people. Michael Vick is my favorite quarterback of all time. Josh is getting close. He's so amazing to watch. Playing Madden, watch fantasy football. Like, just in my lifetime, Michael Vick was the first quarterback I ever seen go in the first round, first overall pick in fantasy football, for Christ's sakes. Like, that's how good he was.
Literally insane.
So I don't think anyone's dogging that Michael Vick is exciting and electric. I
loved trading for him in Madden, and just, you just trade like 4 first-round picks for him, and they just said yes every single time, and it didn't matter because you just won the next 4 Super Bowls in a row.
And I still remember, Adam, with your first round pick. I remember it was Monday Night Football. It was when Donovan was on Washington and when Michael Vick was on Philly. They went head to head. Donovan McNabb had like a 50-point game and got outscored by Michael Vick by like 40 points. Michael Vick almost broke 100 points in that fucking game. That one, it was like 93 points he had in that Monday Night Football game, and it was the greatest thing I ever seen. Also, because shout out to our mine and Jay's friend James G. I had Michael Vick, and I was playing against James that day. And by the end of that week, and James was with me at the bar. By the end of that week, Michael Vick had like 93 points, and James's team had like 86. So
single-handedly beaten.
The greatest thing I ever seen. So, all right, Dave, start round 2.
All right, starting up round 2. Not necessarily one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. I think he's one of the greatest, but stats will say that he's not. But we are, of course, going to go with longtime Buffalo Bill, Fear the Beard, Mr. Ryan Fitzpatrick.
I hate your face.
Talk about a dude that is just so fucking team oriented. He like, watching him play was great, and even watching him lose was fine because you knew that he fucking cared, man, and he really tried, and he went to umpteen different teams. He was tossed all over the place. He always made good of the situation, and like never cared about personal stats. Like, you knew at the end of the game, if the Bills were down, Fitz was going out there and he didn't give a shit if he threw 4 interceptions in a row. He's hawking that ball 9 times out of 10 trying to get that touchdown to like bring it back close. And like, just a dude like that is just, I don't know, top tier dude.
He was early Josh Allen. He had all the brave and moxie of Josh Allen, but just didn't have the arm or the athleticism.
Yeah.
But he like helped us get ready for the fucking horse that we got now. This is Buffalo. Everybody loves Fitz, right? Nobody is.
Yeah.
I had him out. He was my next pick.
And the greatest backup quarterback of all time.
The greatest backup quarterback of all time.
And a very viable starter when he started. Yep. I mean, he had some really good games in there. He was fun to watch, and seeing him on Thursday Night Football now, he's my favorite analyst.
Yeah, he's an awesome guy. That's cool to see. All right, Adam, well, he took your pick. What do you got? You got Donovan McNabb.
He did take my pick. But I have to go here with my baby boy, Matt Stafford. Taking Matt Stafford here.
Fuck.
I have been in love with Matt Stafford for a very long time. I know he was on the shitty Lions for most of his career. But for him to leave the Lions and go win a Super Bowl with the Rams, and just an all-around dude, the things that he's gone through with his wife having cancer and all that, and it's just a really touching story. But fantasy-wise, man, I was so happy to get Matt Stafford because that guy had the quietest 5,000-yard seasons you'd ever seen. And he was constantly putting up points, but because the Detroit Lions were so bad, nobody knew about it. Got to go with Stafford here. He's my number 2 pick.
Megatron is Megatron because of Matt Stafford.
Yeah, just like Cooper Kupp is Cooper Kupp, and Puka was Puka because of Matt Stafford. And that's something I do want to discuss when we get into the receivers, is some information I found about those 2 wide receivers with Matt Stafford splits, but we'll talk about that later. Because Matt Stafford gets a guy, and that's his guy, just like you guys all said, right? And puts up the numbers, but like a third of the yards go to one guy, and that's who he is. He's been in the league 15 years now, right? Like, we know who Matt Stafford is. Great pick. Moving back to me, I'm going to take I got one I want, but I'm going to risk it. Maybe Jay won't take it because I'm going to take the original mold of Josh Allen, and I'm going to take Cam Newton. I loved watching Cam Newton. I loved watching him play. I loved using him in Madden fantasy football. Like I in my lifetime, Cam Newton was drafted in 2011. I was 25 years old. Right. I'm entering my prime, baby. So I'm 25 years old. Cam Newton gets drafted. In my lifetime, I didn't see, but Cam Newton has won a junior college championship. He won an NCAA championship. He won the Heisman Trophy. He won the Rookie of the Year. He won the NFL MVP and unfortunately lost the Super Bowl. So that man has dominated in his professional career, his college career. He's big. He's fast. He figured out his accuracy. He's led a team to the Super Bowl against Peyton Manning. And I love Cam Newton, so I'm happy to have him on my team. So, anybody?
I figured you would take him at some point.
He was a fantasy, point getter too, man. Like he was. Anytime they got close, you knew he was running it in. 6 points easy.
And putting him doing a QB draw on Madden from like the 3-yard line back in the day. Oh fuck, it's over. Forget about it. All right. Nothing else to say. We'll move on to you for Jay. What's your second round pick?
All right, second and third for me. So for the second pick, I'm going to take Carson Palmer.
Ooh,
you bastard!
Heisman Trophy winner.
That was on my list.
Yeah, Heisman Trophy winner goes to the NFL, revives Cincinnati because Cincinnati was awful for 13 years. So
Yeah.
TJ Hoshmazode.
His career probably derailed by injuries for the most part, but
well, he had a late run. Remember when he was in Arizona? He was doing great. Great pick.
Great pick. And my third pick is going to be Tony Romo.
Oh, you son of a bitch.
No. You're a bastard.
I'm surprised we're all saying something. Like, Romo was so fun to watch.
He was.
He really was.
He really was.
He reminded me a lot of John Elway. Just the way he would, like, run around, scramble, make these plays that you shouldn't be able to make. Like, I loved Tony Romo. I loved to watch him. Not a Dallas fan. I think Dak is great, but I like Tony Romo way more. Tony Romo was so great. Like, I loved him. Great pick.
And I don't care what anybody says, controversy or not, he's my favorite announcer ever.
Oh, the best. He's the best.
Yeah, mine too.
I think he is incredible. And I'm so upset that when the league came down on him for like calling the plays before they happen, that whole bit, oh man, I was like, that's so cool though that he does that and he can because people don't know that at home. Like, who cares?
I'll tell you, if we did like an announcers or TV personalities draft, Tony Romo was my second overall pick, just behind Charles Barkley. But that's a different story. All right, anything? You got anything, Dave? You're good.
Love Romo. Cross him off my list. If he ever did win the Super Bowl, he would be held in much higher regard than he is right now. And I think even without the ring, he deserves a little bit more credit than he gets.
Yeah. Awesome. We're all in agreement there, so perfect. Yeah. We're going to move on to my next pick, which is the guy I wanted. Another guy who this guy won a Heisman Trophy. He was a bit of a bust in the NFL. Went and redefined the Canadian Football League. Got signed by the Buffalo Bills. Went on a fucking tear so much that he got a fucking cereal. And the guy was a fucking Buffalo Bills legend. And I want Doug Flutie, man. Man, when I was a kid, Doug Flutie, I think it was like 13 when we got him. I'm a little bit, I remember the Jim Kelly years, but I just lived through the Todd Collins years, and Rob Johnson came in as this high-touted prospect, and Rob Johnson was a good prospect. Bills look at it bad now, but he was a good prospect coming in. And then this old fucking man just comes in and is just running around, going crazy, short, throwing bombs off its back feet, bringing our team to the playoffs. And a lot of people feel that if that home run throwback Tennessee miracle, fuck you, Adam, didn't happen, that the Bills would have been in the Super Bowl that year because Tennessee was in the Super Bowl that year. So a lot of people feel that Bills team could have made the Super Bowl. So Doug fucking Flutie.
I'm so homer here. Jesus Christ, why don't you just take all the fucking Bills quarterbacks as your favorite?
He might. actually.
I could have Tyrod Taylor come in, maybe some Thaddeus Lewis.
His fucking next pick is J.P. Lawson, guaranteed.
No, he's going to probably pick Jim Kelly with his last pick.
Trent Edwards.
I can assure you, it's not Nathan Peterman. So I'm sure we all have great memories of Doug Flutie. I mean, Dave's old enough to remember him in college.
I think he was a Charger when was he a Charger when he made that drop kick?
He was a Patriot.
Oh, he was a Patriot when he did that.
He was a Patriot. Yeah,
it wasn't a Bill. I knew he was one of the only players in NFL history, I think, right, to make to do a drop kick like that, and that was crazy.
Loved him.
Fun story about Doug Flutie. I'll make it short and sweet. Do you remember that everybody was collecting the Flutie Flakes and thinking that they were going to be like worth money or something?
Got two upstairs in the storeroom.
Okay, so we had a box of Flutie Flakes for I can't even tell you how long, and it was in our basement. And I decided one day to open it, and as soon as I opened it, it just had this like plethora of moths start flying out of the bag.
Oh my God.
We lived with moths in our house for like a good 2 fucking years because we could not get rid of these fucking things from one box of Flutie Flakes.
Thanks, Doug Flutie. Thanks.
Yeah.
This is
real cool, fucking Doug Flutie.
Yeah,
that's funny.
Son of a bitch. All right, Adam, what you got?
My number 3 pick. I have to do it. I'm taking the gunslinger himself, Brett Favre. I loved watching Brett Favre throw the ball around, man. That dude could chuck that ball at the full length of the football field on an absolute rope. Yep. He won a Super Bowl with Green Bay, I believe. I think it was his only one. Yep. But, man, was he fun to watch. And even when he went to the Jets and the Vikings afterwards, he was still doing the same thing he was doing in Green Bay, man, and it was just so much fun.
Great pick. One of the best arms ever. One of the best dicks I've ever seen. Just one of the best arms ever. And everyone, of course, remembers the game after his father passed away. Him coming, throwing 4 touchdowns.
4 touchdowns, like 500 yards. Yeah. Insane.
Fantastic. Brett Favre, better than Aaron Rodgers. All right, we'll move on to you, Dave. What you got?
All right. Well, I'm going to go to kind of a basic spot here, and I'm going to take Mr. Manning, but I'm not going to take the one that everybody would think of. I'm taking
Cooper Manning.
Mr. Eli Manning. I'm taking Eli Manning. Talk about a dude that forever lives in the shadows. Peyton is just held in such high regard and very much deserves it. But Eli, I feel like, deserves to be right there with him. I mean, the dude won 2 Super Bowls with arguably worse teams. And I don't know. I like him a lot. I think he has a good skill set.
And he beat Tom Brady twice.
And he beat Tom Brady twice.
Dethroned the undefeated team.
Yeah.
Yeah, great.
Mr. Eli Manning.
No problem with Eli is he fell off the face of the earth like quickly.
Yeah. Hey, the rings are all that matter.
Peyton fell off the face of the earth quickly too. He was just bolstered by an incredible defense that took him through.
But what I mean by that is Peyton lasted nearly 20 years. Eli was like turning dog shit like 10 years in. He was drafted in 2004. By like 2014, 15, he wasn't the same anymore, right? So that's the only problem, I think, with his longevity.
To be fair, like Peyton wasn't that great the last like 3 years. He couldn't even like throw the football. So, I mean, he just got carried.
But he was much older. So that was my only issue.
Watching Peyton win his last Super Bowl was painful.
Yeah,
it was painful. Literally, just throwing up ducks, and you're just praying for this dude to not get murdered on the field.
It was like me. It was like watching me throw a football with my left hand.
Right. Yeah.
Like that's what it was. All right. So very well. So you got 4th round pick. What you got?
Ooh, I forgot I'm going back to back right now. Okay, you wanted some unique names, and I'm going to throw out a fucking unique name here. And this is by no means due to how good this player is. In fact, it is the exact opposite. But with my number 4 pick, we are going to take Mr. Kenny Pickett. And we have talked about this before because as in Kenny Pickett's career as a starter, there was one prop bet that was the most consistent prop bet in all of sports, and that was Kenny Pickett under 1.5 touchdowns. And I would bank on Kenny Pickett to suck every single week. And that dude came through for me. I cannot even tell you how many times. So for me personally, Kenny Pickett is an absolute favorite. That dude made me a boatload of money. Thank you so much for sucking ass.
Hey, that's what this is about. I saw some dude on TV or online or whatever that was saying that he feels that by the end of this year that Kenny Pickett's the starter in Washington or in Philly because Jalen Hurts he was carried by his offensive line in the tush push, and now without Jason Kelce, they're going to not be as good at it. And Kenny Pickett, I was like, okay, that's interesting because like as much as I think he's right, I don't think Kenny Pickett's your answer. The back end of it.
That's a bold move, Cotton. Yeah. Let's see how it works out for him.
So whoever that's, I don't think any of us want to discuss Kenny Pickett. So, Adam, what's your fourth pick?
My fourth pick. I got to do this, and this is one of my. You guys are gonna give me shit for it, but back in the day, I was a very, very big Tennessee Titans fan. I loved Eddie George. I loved Derek Mason. I am taking Air McNair, Steve McNair.
Fucker, dude.
I got to take him. He was one of my favorite players. I actually have a Steve McNair jersey hanging up in the closet as well. So, yeah, he was so much fun to watch, man. I was a big Titans fan back in the day. Of course, the Bills were shitty. I loved my Buffalo Bills, but I was like, you know what? I really need someone to root for. I was a big fan of them. I loved their color scheme back in the day.
It was cool when it came out.
I was a big Eddie George fan, but Steve McNair, yeah, man, he's my guy.
I believe, sadly, tragically murdered, right?
Yeah, by his ex-girlfriend, I believe.
His ex-girlfriend? Yeah. Sad. Great. Fun to play Madden. I believe the last co-NFL MVP. Him and Peyton Manning were co-NFL MVPs the one year?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what I forgot, by the way, Dave, for your pick? I forgot this.
Oh, my God! They've killed Kenny! You bastards!
Forgot that. Sorry. All right, we're going to move on to me. And here's a name digging in to the college football days. An amazing player to watch. Electric quarterback. If you want to call him a quarterback, got to the NFL, didn't do too much, but he kind of overtook the college football landscape for like a year there. Even was on the cover of college football, NCAA, I think 13, and then also was just known by his nickname, and that would be Denard Robinson, a.k.a. Shoelace from Michigan. Loved that guy. He was called Shoelace because he never tied his shoes. He was like Michael Vick. Like he was just running like crazy, not necessarily good as a passer, but I love to watch him. I love to use him in the video games. I'm a Michigan fan, so to have that player on my team that I rooted for was fantastic. Michigan wasn't very good then, but Denard Robinson, Shoelace. Now there's a name for you. Loved him. There we go. Anybody remember Denard Robinson?
No.
Briefly.
Dude, he's on the cover of NCAA 13.
Wasn't he? Didn't he go to Jacksonville and they named him as an offensive weapon?
Yep.
That was.
He wasn't a great
he didn't have a position. He had offensive weapon.
He didn't do very good, but in college, the man was electric and fun, so I loved him. So there we go. There's a nice fun name, Shoelace. All right,
wait, wasn't he on the Rams last year? He got a couple. Didn't he score a touchdown?
No. That was DeMarcus Robinson.
Oh yeah, other Robinson.
Shoelace is not in the league anymore. All right, Jay, what do you got for your second to last pick?
Fourth pick, I'm going to take Kirk Cousins.
Okay, nice.
Kirk, you can't go wrong with Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, dude, he's got some swag to him and everything, and he's made a shit ton of money. He hasn't always been great, but he's made a shit ton of money, and he's fucking rocking chains. So
and he's already got somebody coming for his job already.
Hey, whatever.
He's such a quirky dude.
Yeah, exactly.
Watching him celebrate sometimes it's just like that awkward dude that you're like, are we friends with this guy? But kind of.
Yeah, he's such a dude. He's like a Mormon. He's like a friggin' Mormon, and then all of a sudden he's got all the chains on, screaming, having a good time. So yeah, he's very interesting. And wow, good pick, Kirk Cousins. Nice. All right, what you got for your last one?
And my last one is Jeff Hostetler.
You son of! How do you take my childhood favorite quarterback in this fucking thing? How does that happen? How does that happen?
You had 4 picks to take them, and you didn't take them.
I'm out of this. I'm gone. Let's see here.
That Shoelace pick is looking real fucked up now, right?
Yeah. God. You could have taken a fucking. None of us are college guys. You could have easily taken your college with your 5th round pick.
Tell me why you like Jeff Hostetler, you son of a bitch.
because he was fun to watch, and he's kind of underrated. So
yeah, he was really fun to watch. He was like a very less talented Steve Young, but like you guys know I'm a Raiders fan, so obviously he was the Raiders starting quarterback for about 4 or 5 years there, so I loved him. But people forget that he's a Super Bowl winning quarterback and beat the Buffalo Bills.
Yep.
So the guy was the Giants starting quarterback and beat the Buffalo Bills, and like Fear the Stash, the original Stash man, decent arm, fun guy to watch. Fuck you, Jay. Piece of shit.
You're welcome. Should have drafted better.
Oh, you piece of shit. And you took my Tony Romo, you motherfucking god. I literally wrote 5 next to his name like I was drafting him in the 5th round. You son of a bitch. You son of a... All right. So anyway, fuck you.
It's fine, Chaz. We left Rodgers for you. Just take a breath.
Yeah, that's you love Rodgers.
I got a guy here. I'm going to take Heisman Trophy winner.
Tim Tebow?
It could be, but it's not. Same time frame. Just before Tebow. And didn't have the greatest NFL career, but college career was amazing. Heisman Trophy winner, and wait, did he win the Heisman? I think he won the Heisman. But either way, was the quarterback of the greatest college football, nay, the greatest football game I've ever seen, and that would be Texas versus USC in 2006 championship game, and that's Vince Young. And I love Vince Young was a fucking animal. They were a double-digit underdog. USC just won 3 or 2 national championships in a row. Matt Leinart, Reggie Bush. It was that era. Vince Young fucking comes in, I believe with Jamal Charles too, but maybe not. But Vince Young walks in there. It's like, hold my beer. And fucking destroys. And that 2006 national championship game, if you guys never watched it, I'm sure you can find it on YouTube. 2006 national championship game, Texas versus USC. Vince Young is a legend, and Vince Young.
I remember watching that game on TV, going, "Holy shit! I think the Titans could get him."
Oh, look at that! Another Titan, yeah.
Yeah,
and I have his jersey hanging in the closet too.
And I lied, by the way. I was wrong. Reggie Bush won the Heisman that year. My bad. But he got it stripped, so it's Vince Young's, right?
He's got it back now.
Not yet,
they gave it back.
Well, yeah,
not yet, but they're going to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on, Vince Young was fantastic, and he was a Buffalo Bill.
Oh, I agree.
All right, Adam, what you got? What's your last pick?
My last pick, I got to do it. Jay took Steve Young. I'm taking Joe Montana.
Okay.
I don't have super, memories of him, but I remember I watch a lot of his football games. You can find him on YouTube and on clips of him and whatever. He's a great quarterback, man. I mean, the Niners were unstoppable back then.
Yep.
And then even when he went to the Chiefs, he was still good too. So
his first year at the Chiefs, he lost the AFC Championship game to the Buffalo Bills. Can't go wrong with that.
So,
great pick.
Joe Montana, one of the best to ever do it.
Jay, thanks for your last podcast appearance. I appreciate it. And Dave, what is the final pick of the draft?
Final pick of the draft, boys. All right, we're going to put a nice old school name on the list because I went kind of young with my list. But we're going to go back to my childhood and talk about Mr. Mark Brunell.
Yeah.
Let's go, baby.
Good
not
pick.
the greatest quarterback in the world. Not all the accolades, not all of that, but just put all that aside. The dude was fun to watch, man. I loved watching him when I was a kid. He had Josh Allen's arm before Josh Allen. That dude would just sling it. Like when you're talking about, I bet you I could throw that football over those mountains right there. That was Mark Brunell.
Yeah, and he'd run it too.
Yeah, and he'd run it too, man. Just watching that guy sling the football over the place was just crazy.
I loved using Mark Brunell in Madden because he was a really good thrower and he had more speed than a lot of people realized. So he was one of my favorite to use in Madden. Funny story about Mark Brunell. This 1 year of fantasy football in a family league I was in, this must have been like 2006. The first year Mark Brunell signed with Washington. So he goes to the Washington, and he's got a sick team. I can't remember. Santana Moss and Lavernius Coles maybe and Clinton Portis. I don't remember. But he had a good team, and I was excited for him. So I put him as my fifth quarterback in the draft. But I was working, and I didn't do the draft, so the computer just did the draft. Well, I was picking 8th or whatever. Well, just so happens that 4 people took quarterbacks. So my first-round pick was fucking Mark Brunell. His first year in Washington, and he actually was dog shit. So. That's my Mark Brunell.
Incredible.
So, did you guys write down your picks?
Yes.
Yep.
I did.
All right. So Jay, you let's hear your team.
Steve Young, Carson Palmer, Tony Romo, Kirk Cousins, and your favorite QB, Jeff Hostetler.
Okay. Fuck you. Like your team, it's very, very good. My team is Josh Allen, Cam Newton, Doug Flutie, Denard Robinson, and Vince Young, and I'm totally okay with that. What you got, Adam?
I got Donovan McNabb, Matt Stafford, Brett Favre, Air McNair, and Joe Montana.
All right, and Dave, finish her out. What you got?
We got Michael Vick, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Eli Manning.
Oh my God! They've killed Kenny! You bastard!
I jumped the gun. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Kenny Pickett and Mark Brunell. And if we put that out of context as a short, none of my picks will make sense except the first two.
No, that's just the whole point. So, all right, guys. Well, this was fun. We're going to be back next week with the NFC rookies. I know it's a bit of a longer episode, but hey, we were off for like a couple months there, so we worked a little harder for you people today. We didn't even touch the news. Justin Jefferson, wow, huge money. We'll probably talk about it more next week when we talk about the NFC rookie.
Sets the new standard for wide receivers, and now they're all holding out. So,
all right. Well, everyone, thanks for joining us. Everyone, thanks for joining us. Dave, give yourself a quick plug.
Just like and subscribe this podcast, guys. Like and subscribe this podcast.
Hey,
Find Dave.
Let us know your favorite quarterback.
Oh yeah, sure. Let us know your favorite. Don't give me Tom Brady. Don't give me Peyton Manning. Pull somebody out like Shoelace or Jeff Hostetler. Like that's the idea of it. And then you can follow my other channel, the Chazz Cast. All right, everybody, thanks for joining us. Until then, we'll see you next time. Peace.
See you guys.
Later, guys.
The preceding presentation has been brought to you by the Gear Network.